Bangalore issue, I'm going to tell you about where I work first. Actually, I work in wooded areas, the forest area, and sometimes I stay in Bangalore. That is where I have looked at Bangalore issues also. So this is a kind of the terrain I work. This is the Western Ghats. This is from Kerala to Gujarat. Some of you would have traveled. And this is the repository of biodiversity. And when you look at this region, you will see that here from Kerala to Gujarat, it is from 8 degree to 22 degree latitude. And if you see the number of species, 8 to 14 has the highest number of species. Globally, this is one of the region has the highest number of plants and animal species. That's why we need to conserve. That is where the responsibility of the global citizens to make sure these kind of ecosystems are conserved. Okay. We all know the nature is in balance. We also know that the nature does the job of remediation, treatment, and also there is a sustainability. But when I look at Bangalore, it appears to me all the three are in the dangerous situation. Now, when you look at the way the ecosystem is, because it's early morning, I thought let me have some basic understanding of the subject then before I proceed. You see that when you look at the ecosystem, we have producers, consumers, and there is a material and energy transfer from one level to the other. And finally, whatever is left is converted into the elemental form by the bacteria and fungi. They are our engineers. They convert the waste into the elemental form. And when you look at carefully, there is nothing called waste. But in urban system, you see the waste. That is because we are using more and more the items which are not assimilated by the nature. That is where if you have an organic lifestyle, you are not damaging the environment so that you can pass on the good environment to your next generation. Now, next, when we talk about development, one can think of development. At the same time, if you make sure that your developmental project doesn't deprive the livelihood of the local people, I would say that is the development one should go in for. Now, when you look at this, we have connected the Kerala to Mumbai through the railway network. But at the same time, the farmers, the fishermen, they get their fish, sand and salt. That means their livelihood continues to be there along with the developmental project. This is called planned developmental path. When you have unplanned developmental path, then you have the traffic jams and pollutants and all those things. Okay. Now, when you look at this region, if you look at, this is a lady who is in the mid-50s. She goes under the water and spends 4 to 5 minutes, which none of us, I am unable to do. Okay. And she collects a bucket full of fibers, which sustains her family. So, she earns 300 rupees, which is sufficient to meet the requirement of that day. But when you look at urbanized, we want to exploit more and more. We are not happy with 300. We are not happy with even 1 lakh rupees per day. So that is where is leading to the imbalance. That is where we have the chaos in the system. Now, when you look at the urban system, you will see this kind of photographs, irrespective of the country. You saw the lady in the rural area earning 300, not getting exposed to the contaminants, whereas this lady earns 25 rupees, which is not sufficient for her meal, and she is exposed to contaminants. This is not the development. This is not a sign of progress. So that is what most of the countries are going ahead with this kind of developmental path. We have the two sections of society, very rich, at the same time, the vulnerable section of society who are exposed to the contaminants, etc. Now, when we talk about urban ecosystem, you can have a planned urbanization. If you want to have a planned urbanization, you need to have the data. You need to visualize what is the likely impact of your developmental policies. But so far, what I have understood is we have adapted the unplanned urbanization. We have ad hoc approaches, and we do not even visualize with the current growth of pattern of growth, what is likely to happen 10 years down the line, how it impacts the system. And of course, we have not even looked at these aspects There are only few countries in the globe which are doing this job, the wastewater treatment based on bioremediation principle, and also for sustaining the water in the region. So, our decentralized system of water harvesting, etc. So now, when you look at the urbanization, I said there are two kinds, planned and unplanned urbanization. The unplanned urbanization invariably lead to the sprawl. When you look at the sprawl as a region, you will see the pockets of houses or some kind of development, but that area is inefficient in energy and also deprived of the basic amenities and infrastructure. So that is where the serious concern is about the sprawl. It happens in peri-urban area. When two towns are connected by a road, you will see small changes happening along the roadside. If the planner doesn't visualize the growth, that continues to be the region without basic amenities like treated water, the sanitation, etc. That is where one needs to do the planning. So now, of course, what we have done is we have tried to look at what is the growth in the city. Today you have the remote sensing data. These are the pictures of the earth taken from the satellite. This is available from 1970 onwards, every 21 or 30 days interval. So that 4.5 years, decades data we have used. We have understood the spatial and temporal pattern of the growth, and also we have said that what is likely to happen in 2020 or 2025. That is where we looked at the agents of changes, and we did the modeling based on the behavior of the agent. That means we have adopted agent-based modeling, and when we validated that, the accuracy is as high as 98%. That means we are doing a good job there. Okay, now I'll not get into this because of the time constraint. Let us look at Bangalore. If you look at current Bangalore, the spatial extent is 741 square kilometer. In 741 square kilometer, the 1800, the temperature was 16 degrees Celsius in the May month. That is during the summer. So what is the temperature here in this room? You used to get outside also without using this kind of artifacts. That is mainly because we had interconnected water bodies in this 741 square kilometer. There were about 1,452 water bodies which are created by our elders to meet the domestic and agriculture water demand. And also the green cover in the city was 82%. And also for some days in December, the temperature was 0 degrees Celsius. Today, we have reached 34 to 37 and sometimes 38 to 40 degrees Celsius. So we have warmed up. So that is the thing. And the city, which is a garden city, has become a garbage city. And also this statement I have put it thinking that the bureaucrat will come. Unfortunately, bureaucrats don't want to share the dais with me. That's where I have seen wherever I go, they avoid me sharing the dais with me. That is because I speak without any. Now, let's look at this one. This is what I have said. I have summarized in this slide. Now, let's look at the Bangalore topography. As I said, Bangalore topography is undulating. And you see the undulating terrain is like a small hillock, and there are 3 watersheds. That means, taking advantage of the undulating terrain, we had interconnected water bodies. That means the water from one level used to move to the another level without any problem. And because of that, there was a treatment of water. The aeration used to happen. The treatment used to happen. So, and today we have 193 water bodies in this region. And these are my group has studied all the lakes in Bangalore. In fact, we have the data for all the lakes. So, we know what is happening and also we know what needs to be done. Okay. Now, today if you look at using remote sensing data, you will see that interconnectivity is lost. That's where threatening the quality of water in the lake, apart from these lakes are fed with the untreated sewage and industrial effluents. Now let's look at the urban dynamics. Now when you look at the remote sensing data, when you analyze it, you see 1973 the region had 68% green cover. Okay, that is the vegetation. Blue is water body, yellow is open space, red is the built up area. And today, 2016, if you see, 76% is red and only 7% is green. We have reversed the thing. So now the implication of that is the Bangaloreans have to suffer. And to understand this further, we did what is going to happen, we did the modeling. Now let us just visualize this, how the growth has happened and why it has happened, which helps in saying what is going to happen in 2020 or 2025. 1973, the most part of the city is green, the garden city, 68% green cover. 92, you see the industrialization happening at Pini and Koramangala, there's a growth started. Now we know the agents of change and also the behavior of the agent, how much changes has happened. Then 99, 2000, ITBTI in the outskirts, you see the changes happening there. Then intensification 2006, 2009, 2017, you see 78% is red. Okay, only 6% is under green. Okay, now if you look at the number, 1028% increase in the built up area, as we have lost 88% vegetation, 79% of the water body. That's where I wrote a first article saying enough is enough, we need to do something to the Bangalore. My suggestion was to decongest Bangalore. But somehow the bureaucracy doesn't want that. They want everything in Bangalore. So, but today I saw there are some moves to change some of the corporation out of the Bangalore, some 6 corporation. That's what I heard in the morning news. So now let us see how the growth is happening. So we divided Bangalore into 4 zones. 1 kilometer concentric circle. In each circle, how much growth has happened and when it has happened, how it has changed from year 1 to year 2, we observe. This is most part of Bangalore, 20% urban. Only the core area, CBD, had some growth. Then 92 with industrialization, you see the growth happening here. Then 99, you see that outskirts growth has happened. Then you see the intensification started happening. Then if this trend continues in 2020, 93% of the landscape would be covered with the building. And that is where I wrote my next article saying Bangalore is a dead city. That's where it received a lot of media attention. And also the global people started looking at it more carefully. And that's where I started writing articles in editorials and national media, etc. So then when I look at 2025, 98% of the Bangalore landscape would be covered with the building. So this is not acceptable. And today, Bangalore has oxygen deficiency. In fact, there are some people in the night have to use oxygen cylinder. The city which had surplus oxygen, today we have moved to the situation where oxygen scarcity has started happening. Okay? We need to accept these things. Okay? Now, the implication of unplanned urbanization is oxygen level is dipping, declining groundwater table, and 40% of the city dwellers depend on the groundwater. 60% only comes from the Kaveri river. So that means a lot of people are getting affected. See, when groundwater table goes down, natural geological strata has a trace element. That means people are consuming the water which is contaminated with heavy metal. That because of that there are health issues. Then what are the solutions? If time permits, I will talk about the wastewater treatment, sustaining the water through the rainwater harvesting. Then, of course, most importantly, the capacity building. We need to bring awareness among the people. Now, let us see how many trees are there in Bangalore. If you look at, this is Bangalore tree cover. How did you quantify? This is my campus, Indian Institute of Science campus. I have about 60% green cover. One of my students using GPS just mapped the trees, linked that with the remote sensing data. This exercise was done in a couple of wards. My campus is equivalent to a ward. So with that field data, we extrapolated using a remote sensing data. Our data shows there is a 14,78,000 trees. That means 1.5 million trees are there for 9.5 million population. That means for every 7%, 1 tree is there. Now, what is the number of trees we require? See, we all give out carbon dioxide to an extent of 540 to 980 grams per person per day. Elderly people, half kg. Younger people, 1 kg of CO2. And this CO2, carbon dioxide, is assimilated by the trees. 1 hectare of tree takes away 6 to 8 tons of carbon dioxide per year. By that ratio, for every human being, there should have been 7 or 8 trees. But what we have is 7% 1 tree. That's why we have oxygen deficiency in the region. Okay, now you understood oxygen deficiency. Now let's move to the next topic, the water. 1,452 water bodies has become 193 water bodies. Okay, Earlier storage capacity of this 1452 was 35 TMC. The Bangalore receives rainfall of 15 TMC, 700 to 850 millimeter. So that elders have created a system where we could have addressed the floods. Today, because of removal of water and connectivity, the city is prone to the flooding also. Now, other thing is lake is polluted and abused, and the rainwater harvesting is suboptimal. We have not thought about treating the water. Now, with lot of pressure, the government has started looking at those aspects. Okay. Now, how the lakes are getting polluted? Solid waste dumping happens. People encroach. They build apartment, and of course, raw sewage come to the lake. This happens in almost all the cities. Some of you would have noticed. Some of the even in European cities, I have seen this kind of contamination happening. Okay, and then people let the sewage into the system, and those who are away send it through the tanker. That means every Bangalorean is responsible for the water contamination. So because our sewage is either treated partially or untreated. When you don't treat the sewage, naturally there is a lot of nutrient in the water. Because of that, you see the profuse growth of macrophyte. When there is a profuse growth of macrophyte, thick beds of the macrophyte, it doesn't allow the sunlight to penetrate. In the absence of sunlight, you see the entire food chain collapses. That's why we have lost the native species of fish. Algae is lost. Because algae is not there, you do not have the fish. So when the lake is of this condition, when you measure the water quality at the inlet and outlet, you see the dissolved oxygen at inlet is 0 because of the sewage. But by the time when the water comes here, it becomes 9 and 10. That means water is treated. That is treated by algae. Now because of this, there is no treatment because there is no algae. Okay. Now this is what the summary of what I said. Because of the pollutant, there is no algae and we do not have the fish. Now it affects the humans because we all take fish. Now when you see the lake, when it is not polluted, it gives us the goods in the form of fish, fodder, etc. to an extent of 10,500 rupees per day per hectare. This is for the first time in the globe we showed what is the worth of a lake or a wetland. And when the lake is polluted, it comes down to 20 rupees per day per hectare. Now, why it has become 20 rupees? Because we lost the fish, we lost the fodder. So that is who are the people who are affected? Not people like you and me. It is the people who are the fishermen, washerwomen. They are the ones get affected of their livelihood. See, this is what is threatening the survival of that downtrodden section of the society. Now, when you look at the lakes, you see almost all lakes, there is a dumping of solid waste. We have done the study of the entire city. These are the field data collected by one of my students. So wherein we saw that almost all the major drains and the lake have been used for dumping the solid waste. So, and we also have quantified how much solid waste dumps and what kind of solid waste and what fraction is the building debris and what fraction is the organic thing. And you see that most of them have the organic content 70 to 80%. Naturally, this gets leached into the water and contaminates the water body. So now the implication of that is we have beautiful frothing and the fire. I'm sure no one can create this situation, coexistence of fire and water, except my city. I will challenge. You can go home and do it. You will not be able to do it. That is what is the. And this frothing is because of the phosphate-based detergent. See, when the sewage is not treated or industrial effluent is not treated, we all use the detergent. Detergent has got phosphate. Similarly, we eat protein. Because of that, we have N in the water. This N and P are the nutrient getting into the water body. N and P leads to the nutrient enrichment. Now, when N is taken by the macrophyte major extent, while the P small fraction is taken by the plant, where the major fraction get trapped in the sediment. Now, when it is trapped in the sediment, during the month of April, March and April, there is a high intensity wind with a high intensity rainfall. Because of that, churning of the lake happens. When churning of the lake water happens, the upwelling of the sediment happens. When upwelling of the sediment happens, it releases the phosphate into the water. That's how the froth happens. That is the science behind it. But I see there are a lot of pseudo experts have cropped up giving many explanations for the froth. No one has analyzed. When we analyze the sample of the froth, water and sediment, I know for sure there is the the phosphate-based detergent is the contributing factor. Now, we have given the report to the government, both federal and central government. I was told that there is a move to restrict the phosphate-based detergent in the country. If it happens, we would have solved the frothing in almost all water bodies in India. See, what happened in Great Lakes of Canada or European Lake is happening in Bangalore. Only 20 years is the time frame. That's the only thing. Okay. Now, see, the solution by the bureaucracy to stop the froth, not reduce the phosphate. They want to put the barricade. So this is the 21st century innovation. And I don't know who are those consultants who have advised this. So when I wrote an article saying these are ad hoc reactionary approach, it will not solve the problem. Bureaucracy was upset with me. Then later when the froth crossed over, bureaucracy congratulated me. So this is what happened. And this is what is happening even today. When you go there, there are a lot of ad hoc measures. It is all driven by the consultant. What consultant says becomes the sacrosanct. What scientist says takes the backstage. So now let us see how the contaminants affects us. Every unit of pollutant getting into the water body, it gets bioaccumulated in the fish 1 million times. You know, when we analyze the tissues of fish, we see heavy metal in the fish. And also the vegetable that is grown out of this water. The water is used for irrigation. We see that green vegetable, then radish, all this has higher amount of heavy metal. So the heavy metal, some extent to us is fine. But if you have a large amount of heavy metal in the body, in the food, you know, it affects the kidney. Now that is what is happening. The kidney failures in the city has gone up. What was 1 in 1 lakh? About 10 years back, the data what I have shown is very worrying. 1 in 5,000. For every 5,000 person, there is one kidney failure. And today, every ward on average has a dialysis unit. If this trend continues, tomorrow every house should have the dialysis unit. That means the city is contaminated. City is also less of water and oxygen. That's where the city is dying. Okay, that is where the bureaucracy has to wake up. And I do not know when they will wake up. Okay. Now let's look at the pollutant in the air. When you look at the pollutant in the air, you will see that because of lack of adequate public transport and efficient and economical public transport, people use two-wheelers more and four-wheelers. Because of that, you see that cities like Hyderabad and Bangalore have the pollutant to an extent of 43 to 54%. And small fraction also comes from the waste. The waste mismanagement and this kind of pollutant is contributing to the greenhouse gases. The greenhouse gases means higher the greenhouse gases, we are also warming the earth. Almost all the cities in the globe are contributors to the greenhouse gas. If you are talking about the change, the mitigation of climate change, Mr. Trump should think about the concentrating on what needs to be for all the cities in America as well as the other parts of the globe. Now, look at the way we also design our building. These are the buildings meant for the European or the cold climate, not for the country like mine where we have a tropical climate. Here I should not conserve the heat. When I put this kind of buildings in my environment, it enhances the requirement for the air conditioner. And with that, we see the higher electricity consumption. See, we did a study to see how much electricity is required for the people who are residing in this glass facade building versus the normal building. When I saw the data, which was done by one of my students, I see that the normal building, if it is 750 to 1,700 units per person per year, in this glass facade building, it comes to 14,000 to 15,000 units per person per year. 10 times higher electricity means these fellows are contributing to global warming 10 times higher than what the normal person is doing it. Okay. See, every action of the greedy action is contributing to the global issues. That is where we have to wake up. Okay. Now, how the floods happen? I said lakes are interconnected. When you remove the lake or drainage connectivity is low, naturally that becomes the vulnerable section, vulnerable locations in the city. Now, the other thing is we need to identify the floodplain. That is where the water body and the concept of buffer zone comes. In fact, Mr. Ravi Chandra has worked on the buffer zone. So, there is no scientific basis for most of the fellows. And I was arguing that we need to, depending on the size of the water body, we should have the buffer zone. That's what he also agrees with. And also I said, we have done the study to say that if the water body is 100 acres, at least it should have 100 meters buffer zone. But somehow the government, somehow the Green Court came up with, agreed to our suggestion, they came up with 75 meters. Today, I see the builders have gone to the higher court asking for the amendment of 75 meters. They want 15 meters. That means the builders in the city have decided to kill this city and kill our children. That's what, unless the normal citizens, the ordinary citizens wake up, this situation will not change. Now, when you look at these drains, which are supposed to be 45 and 60 meters, in the name of remodeling the thing, people are narrowing the drain and also concretizing. Any human being with some sense will know that concretizing drain is not acceptable, because drain is a natural ecosystem. It has to do the bioremediation. It also has to allow the infiltration of the water. It is not the aesthetic entity. It should not look good, but it should do the job of the ecology. See, the people who work, they don't dress well. People who don't work will dress better. That's what happens with this kind of thing. The remodeling of the drain is killing the groundwater level in the city. So that's what we have done the study, and we have said that in fact, we have written many articles on this. But in spite of that, floods is happening because of all these things. And every year I see that now the latest thing is not only the drains are concretized and narrowed, they are also covering it. So this is near golf course. So now, see why this happens. See, engineering college is sitting in the water body, and you can see how we have to struggle. We travel above the coast, and this is our decision maker. Because of their inaction or apathy is the root cause of this problem. Now there is a change in the leadership. There's not much change. That is my problem, okay? Till I wake them up, I'll have this problem in the city. Okay? Now you also understood lakes are becoming seasonal, groundwater table has declined, and there are changes in local temperature also. We have analyzed that also. Wherever lakes were there, we were having water at 80 to 100 feet. When you remove the lake, it becomes 600 feet. Since I have seen that phase, I have the data to prove that. And wherever intense urbanization has happened, the groundwater table has gone down further. So that is where it is threatening the sustenance of the water in the region. Now let's look at the temperature. What is the 92, 2000, 2006? Using remote sensing data, you can do the analysis using thermal sensor. Now, from the center of the city, we moved in a direction. We noted down the temperature profile. You see, wherever lakes are there or parks are there, green wooded areas are there, temperature is at least 2 degrees lower. That means the lakes and the wooded area helps in moderating the local climate or the microclimate. Even my campus, because I have 54 or 60% green cover, I have the temperature which is at least 2 degrees lower than the city. Now, you understood loss of water bodies, sensitive habitats, etc. If you have traveled in the city, you would have enjoyed the pollutant whenever you are stuck and in the traffic bottleneck. Okay, the city, which was a garden city, has become a dead city, and I would say this is because of the poor environmental literacy. Most of us are literate. Next to Mumbai, Bangalore is there. 85% of the people can read and write. They are literate. But when you look at environmental literacy, it's only 3.5% are environmental literate. That means 96% of the people without knowing the environmental issues is contributing to this kind of situation in the city. Okay. Now, what is the solution? Say, as an academician, I need to give the solution, and that is what we have been doing. See, for example, this is a lake in Jakkur. If you have time, you can visit. So, surrounding this lake, there are wells are there, groundwater sources are there. People extract that. When we analyze the water of that in 2005, there were higher nitrate level in the groundwater. Nitrate has come because people are letting sewage into the lake, and when it moves to the water body, it was getting oxidized. Nitrate is a carcinogen which introduced cancer in the system. Now, in 2008, I made sure something happens to the lake. See, sometime in democracy, things work. That's why we should go for democracy. we put the secondary treatment plant. Along with that, I took the natural system, the constructed wetland and algae pond. And this document is available online. Okay. And when it passes through this, constructed wetland will, this secondary treatment will remove the large particle as well as chemical ion. When it passes through this, the nutrient is removed. Now, when I test the water, the groundwater in this region, there is no nitrate. There are 300 plus borewell. At least I am satisfied 300 plus borewell users are not taking nitrate. That is the contribution of the science to the society if the bureaucracy accepts our suggestion. Now, how much is removed? We have quantified that, and this document is available online. Then, what is the other solution? Rainwater harvesting. When you look at rainwater harvesting, city receives about 750 to 850 millimeter. When I quantify that, I have 15 TMC of water. Now, to store the 15 TMC of water through the rain, there are two approaches. One is rooftop harvesting. Individual houses get 3 to 4 months additional water. The next thing is through the lakes. Now, I have 193 water bodies. I have 198 wards. That means on an average, I have one water body in each ward. If I rejuvenate this water body, I can store the rainwater. See, these are the water bodies in the ward. And we have studied all the lakes. We know the health of that lake. And also we know what needs to be done in each lake. Now, to summarize what I said, you have 15 TMC because of rainwater. And through this, the technology which is working in Jaipur, if I adapt that to all the things, I'll have another 16 TMC. Because the city dwellers use 18 TMC of water, that means when I treat it, I have 16 TMC. That means 15 plus 16, 31 TMC for a region where 18 TMC is a requirement. But for this to happen, people have to be responsible. When they are responsible, they will allow the rejuvenation to happen. And then I can retain the water. And also I can do the recycle or reuse. Otherwise, people have objection to use the treated water. Okay. So, then option 3, wherever possible, create water bodies and mini forests. So, now, how did we achieve this? This is not just Bangalore, other parts of the state also we have been successful. When I met this gentleman, I made sure he creates a water body in the place. And also he took up the buffer zone watershed treatment, see, with the native species. Because my study shows that when the catchment has a native species, that stream carries the water all 12 months without any contamination. When you convert that catchment into barren area, that stream carries water only 4 months. So, if that is the case, one should have native species. Now, about 15 lakh liters is stored in this region where there was a water scarcity 3 years back. Then seeing the success, I saw that these youth are responsible for that. And this is the CEO of one of the education institutions. When I spoke to him, made sure that we created one more water body which stores 25 lakh liters. In this institution, there are 25,000 kids are there. So that is this one. That means, 10 times the water required by the kids is stored in that region. Now when I go there, this is in 2017, before monsoon we created. Then when I go there in August 2018, you see that entire region has the water and you can see how the greenery has taken over. You just have to create the water body. The nature takes over and you can see a smile on the human's house. Okay. So now this is the campus, my campus. I created the water body in my campus, 2008, okay, which stores 10 lakh liters of water. How much water I consume? My family consumes 500 liters per day. 500 into 365. That means I have stored water 10 times what is required for my family. If every citizen in the globe does this, there won't be water scarcity in any country. Whether Africa or India or Bangladesh, you will not have water crisis. That's what we should do. And when this kind of water bodies are there, especially when young students are there in the campus, they get excited, okay? And they can do the great science. Not only the youngsters get excited, even this kind of animals come there. In the place where city is dying, I have an otter in my campus. This is within the camp, within the city, okay? Now, if you want to know how the otter has come, I do not know. Okay? But I'm sure otter requires a lot of fish. To understand that, one of my students did the mapping of the diversity of life in the water body. You see that 2005, I was doing a measurement taking, you see me walking there. 2008 onwards, you see how the lake is. Now you have the algae, zooplankton, this is a fish and the bird, and this is the water. That means the entire food chain is established. My job was only to create the water body, allow the water to go there in a low-lying area and stagnate there. See, today I have the life there. And not only that, recently one of my students got me a skin of a snake. Now we asked him to measure, because we are scientists, we believe in numbers. We are not just carried away by what we see. So when he measured, he said it is 279 centimeter. Then we asked him to do the literature review to find out what is the maximum reported in the country. The maximum length of a snake is reported in the country is 236 centimeters. So ladies and gentlemen, my institute is the #1 in the country. We are the institute of eminence because of our students. Not only our students excel, even the animals in the campus also excel. If you do a good job, everyone is happy. Okay? Now, see, the next one is how you can have the mini forest, how it helps in the groundwater. See, my job as an academician, I also develop model, and also I do this kind of experiment which helps me in arguing my. So, see, mini forest has helped in improving the local ecology, help in carbon sequestration, and temperature is another 2 degrees lower. So now, when you look at this, see, this is a climber in the campus, you will see only in the Western Ghats. And people said it won't come in Bangalore. But my thing is, whatever I see which is beautiful and which carries some message, because architecture-wise it was very appealing. I thought I should have it in Bangalore, that too in my campus. I brought it to my campus, planted it in when I was a student in 90s. So this is the pod which I got, which has 14 seeds. Out of 14, 7 seeds were planted in 7 locations by me. Out of 7, only 1 has survived. Where it has survived? It has survived next to this building, where after my studentship, I continued as a faculty in the campus. Even I didn't know that I will continue in the campus as a faculty, but this fellow knew that I will continue in the campus, and also he knew I'll continue in this building. So, see, that's how nature knows the thing. If you don't believe it, I want to know why other 6 didn't survive. It was planted by me, same hand, soil is same, environment is same, but still it didn't survive. But only one place it has survived, and you get a feel of the rainforest when you come there in the early morning, 7 o'clock. See, that is how you can create the system. Now, more importantly, in front of this building, we also created a mini forest. 49 native species, 500 saplings in 2 hectares area. And this area was infested with a weed, Parthenia. And today, when you look at this region, you get a feel of the rainforest, and you have this animal also, slender loris, okay, small monkey. And more importantly, from hydrological point of view, if you look at groundwater table, which was 150 earlier, today I have water at 5 to 10 feet. Where the city is dying for water, I have the water because of this mini forest. That's why my suggestion to the government is we should have mini forest in each ward, so that groundwater table goes up with the thing. And temperature is 2 degrees lower, and we have the other biological organism also in this. Okay. Now, at the same time, I know that the literacy is poor. What we are doing is we are sensitizing the youth and the teachers. We have the network of schools and colleges. We also organize a symposium popularly known as Lake Symposium. I have been doing every even year from 98. And 11th event we conducted in 2018. So, and also apart from that, for the working professional, I offer internet-based course, 16 sessions. We just completed in the December. And these are the courses we offer. I'll take another 3 minutes. Okay. This is the glimpse of the Lake Symposium which we did. This is the announcement. And when you look at the symposium, one day is for the school or college student to come and do the presentation. Apart from they take part in the 3-day event. For them to take part in the international event, we also do the orientation program. This is how we conduct the classes, and the children are trained by my students, and then those who do very well will conduct the experiment, and then they come for the Lake Symposium. They get an opportunity to interact with the international and national experts. That's how the capacity building happens. The students who took part in my this program, they went to the NASA. They are now faculty in IITs. See, this is how the capacity building happens. That is how we are generating sensible humans in the country. Okay. Now, if there are lakes in the region, the kids will do the mapping of the catchment and also do the water quality assessment. Now, if you look at the kids have been trained by my student, so the kids, this is a froth in 2000. If you want to see the level of inefficiency in the system, just take a difference of the height of froth in 2000 and today. That is the difference that gives you the idea about level of inefficiency or improper or mismanagement of the ecosystem in the region. Okay. Now the children go to the place, collect the sample, they come to our lab and analyze. Probably the entire globe, my lab is one which allows the youngster to come and work with us. Okay. So then this is for the working professionals. The 16th session we conducted. What I am trying to say is our approach is to do the capacity building at all levels. So, and also we have tried to solve some of the problems of the country. See, when we talked about solar energy, I prepared the map for the entire country to show the potential of this country. Today, the government of India has taken up the solar energy measure based on our work. In fact, for the first time, I argued that we should have a generation-based incentive. That means if you generate electricity based on PV cells and feed it to the grid, you should get the money. In fact, people who are getting 9 rupees 53 paisa, they are making a big revenue today. So that's how they are benefited. And now my students are looking at the oil in the algae for biofuel. So that is the thing. So with the electricity from solar and biofuel to meet the fossil fuel or to mitigate the fossil fuel demand, so we are trying to see we have energy sustainability along with the water. So those who are interested can look at this article which is available online. So, and also if you want to see further details, you can contact me, you can write to me. I do not use mobile. You are most welcome to write to me. And this is a website where you get the Western Ghats information. Here, if you want to do GIS at zero cost, open source softwares are archived here, like QGIS, etc. And this is my group web page. And those who are in academics can also search my article in ResearchGate and the Google Scholar. So, okay. Now, when you access my web page, it looks like this. You get the details of the Lake Symposium, Water Testing Lab, and also the research paper. When you access research paper section, you will see theme-wise we have organized our publication. See, energy, biofuel, climate change, etc. And also lakes and Western Ghats biodiversity. And what I have done in IISc, we have also studied urbanization in 10 cities in India, including Mumbai, Delhi, the Chennai, etc. Those publications are also available online. Okay. Then, okay, if you have done something sensible and reasonable, it is because of these youngsters who are behind me. Okay. And thank you all for listening to me. If there are any queries, I would be happy to answer.